if it's not one thing that's going to kill me, it's going to be another. And, to be honest with you, I swore an oath to do this job the best I could and be ready at a moment's notice and do it the best I could. So I'm going to do what it takes. And for me, I'm going to do what it takes to be the best. And that is only accomplished by trading in gear.
All right. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Relentless Rejects podcast. I am honored and privileged to have my next guest as Matt Magee. If you don't know who he is, I think all I will tell you before he starts talking is that I like to refer to him as the humble assassin. He doesn't really broadcast the things that he's done, but from other people, I've heard about the impact that he's making and the waves that he's making in the fire service. And I don't want to steal any of his thunder. I'm going to let him do all the talking. And so with that, let's bring in Matt Magee. How you doing?
Good. Glad to be here.
Dude, I know you work at a busy house, and I would try not to take up as too much of your time. I know you're still on the job. I don't know how you do it. But that leads me to my first question, man. You sent me a little bit of a bio, and I don't read bios to the audience, but I know you got 20 years on the job. You work at a busy firehouse in a busy organization. Married, 4 kids, and several different accolades outside the fire service. I mean, how do you find the time? Not only you're doing real estate right now. So, I mean, how do you find the time? How do you find the balance?
Well, a lot of it is, and Logan Broberg, a good friend of mine, talked about it on your show. It's about getting up early, getting it knocked out before they're awake or when they're asleep at night. It's for me, that's the most effective way that I find that I get my training in. I can still dedicate my time and my attention to my family and my second career that I'm developing outside the fire service so that I have something when I retire eventually. So that has given me the ability to be able to still maintain my level of fitness and not take away time from my family or the job. Early mornings, I get up at 4 a.m. I do my studying. I hit the gym, go for a run, whatever it is that day, go for a run. And then my days, by the time I get home, the kids are waking up, get them breakfast, get them to school or wherever, what they're doing for the day. And then I'm off to do real estate from 9 to 5 on my days off.
I imagine that's got to have a lot of trust and relationship building with the wife, right? For you to step out. Because I'm sure the kids aren't always sleeping when you're out. Yeah. Like some of them maybe get up early.
Yeah, definitely. You never know when they're going to get up, but usually 6:30, 7:30 a.m. they're up. But to have that support system at home is very important. And that's something that took a long time to develop, but it took me not being selfish in the beginning and having real conversations with my wife about my goals, my aspirations, getting her support behind me, and slowly over time, building that trust in me through her, that when I say I'm going to complete something or that I want to focus my goals and my ambitions onto something, that I'm going to put every effort into it. She's going to put the time and effort into watching the kids so I can go do this or, train or do what it is that I need to do to get to the point where I can accomplish that goal. Then that over time of successfully completing those things that I put in front of her built the confidence in her. And that has gotten us to the point where now when I say, hey, I want to focus on doing this, don't worry, I'm not going to take our time to do it. I'm going to do it in my own time when you guys are asleep or when I'm on shift. That's the big thing, is I do a lot of this when I'm on shift. And, it's become a balance that we both have agreed upon. But that is absolutely the most important thing, is to have the support at home. And, it's not easy for a wife sometimes to be agreeable with our goals, because they want to have goals too. They want to have aspirations. They want to complete. They want to be important. So you have to find ways to make your wife feel important and allow her to have goals and support her goals as well.
Dude, that last part really resonates with me for sure. because I've always, I mean, my level of fitness is different than guys like you and Logan, but I'm working on it. I'm getting there. Just the more I network with and talk to guys like you, I understand where my fitness level needs to be. But at the same time, I got a 9-month-old baby at home, and I was one of those guys that were like, hey, look, this is part of my job. I'm gonna go work out, but I wasn't doing it on my time. I was like, hey, watch the baby for a couple hours, and I'm gonna go work out. And then same thing, she would tell me like, I don't have time for myself. I'm watching the baby while you're off doing your own thing.
Right.
And then I would, because I'm an idiot, I would rebuttal and be like, well, I need to be in shape for my job. You don't need to be in shape for your job. That does not win any arguments whatsoever, dude. So, yes, being an early riser, I have found that is the way to do it. But then also, guys like Logan, you mentioned him. He's got a new baby too, and he's prioritized his lifestyle to where it's not an excuse. You know, he posted a video on Instagram of him hanging his baby on a pull-up bar in a swing while he's repping out some deadlifts. And I'm like, okay, all right. So no excuses there. Like, don't use your wife as a reason for you to go be able to do your own thing and take away from her time. But then at the same time, when it's daddy daycare time, you can't use that as an excuse to neglect your own health and fitness.
Absolutely.
Either. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I love the fact that you've been a mentor and you've set the example for a lot of people. And from what I can tell is that you're kind of doing it just out of the kindness of your heart. You're doing it for free. Like, I spoke with you a while back on potentially getting ready for a smoke diver program, and you're like, what's your email? I'll send you the program that I put together for myself to get prepared for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here's my email. Like, do I have to Venmo you anything? And you're just like, no, just like, what is that? Is that something just at your, like, the type of person you are, being selfless?
Yeah. And, nothing against anybody that charges for that kind of thing, but I don't see charging people to become better as a goal of mine. I do it just because you want to get better. If you tell me that you want to put in the effort and you put the time in, I'm going to put my time into you. But I'll give you my attention. If you want to become better, but you got to show me. You gotta show me that you're putting in the effort. Then I'll continue to support you and be there and give you whatever I can to help you. And to me, that's being a good friend, being a good person, being a good man, being a good leader. Nothing. And like I said, nothing against anybody that charges for it. Sometimes there's so many people that bombard you with, hey man, what do you do to work out? That eventually, like, that's your time. Time is money. I understand that, doing what I do on the side, so like I said, nothing against anybody that does that way. But as far as like my programming goes, for things like smoke diver, that it was cut and dry when I finally figured out the recipe to make it happen, to get me to the mentality and the physicality that I needed to be to pass programs like that. So somebody like you, who I see is putting in effort, you're showing others that you're out there doing it, you're grinding, then yeah, man, you ask me for something like that, I'm gonna give it to you.
No, I love it too. And like you said, like, no disrespect to those guys that created an awesome platform. My buddy Marcos Orozco lives right up the street from me, and he has a program, and I invested and bought his program because I know the man. I've met him, I've trained with him, and he is every example of what I would hope to find in meeting a smoke diver, and he carries himself like that every day and sets the example. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to pony up the dough and buy his program because, one, I want to support him, but two, like, he's the example. Like, going through his program to get to what his training regimen and all that stuff, it's beautiful. But I will knock him, and it sucks. Day 3 is the Mega Magee in all year, in a coat and pants and SCBA. And I'm telling you, that is a brutal workout.
Yeah.
What is up with the Magee? Did you even come up with that, or did someone else make it?
So it's a little mix of the GSD workout and what I did to train for Georgia and Indiana smoke divers. So I used that program, just the 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, the up, down, push ups, jumping jacks, mountain climbers. I used that program along with doing a circuit and a run, all in accordance with each other. And that got me to the point where I was ready for any PT that they threw at me, mixed in with gear workouts and all that, which I think is very important, being in gear. When I put it all together, that was the recipe for those two particular programs. Florida's program is a little bit different. Florida smoke diver is a whole different animal in itself. But I know we could discuss that too later if you want.
Yeah, I mean, we've already thrown the smoke diver name out there a few times already, and with the integration of social media and Chief Rhodes Smoke Daddy being up at FDIC, I think it's pretty much a household name. Everybody knows about smoke divers. I'm in Colorado. There's a chapter coming here soon.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and I want to ask you personally, like, with smoke diver coming up, like, who is that for? Like, who is that? Like, what kind of firefighter, what kind of person would that attract?
So I would think it's somebody that is looking for more. They're looking for more out of themselves, out of their job, out of their expectations of themselves. Once you kind of get around the people or around the mentality of the smoke divers, it's almost like you want to be what they are. And when I finally got around that, it became an obsession. And through the process, I learned so much about myself that I realized halfway through the training of it how much better I was just by training for something as big as that goal is. And I was 3 months into training for it, and I was like, man, I can last in gear all day long. Like, I don't even realize that I have it on anymore, and that in itself, just training for something that big above you, or what seems that big above you at the time, puts you in a different mentality, different state of mind. It really does. And physically, I mean, you're leveling up. You really are. Ask anybody that's trained for it. Just 2 weeks in, you're already feeling the effects of it.
So how did you personally find out about smoke divers? How did you become interested in it?
I found out about smoke diver through Basil Ibrahim.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him in Orlando. We're both lieutenants there. But at the time, we were both still firemen in Orlando. This is back in 2015. And he sent me some flyer that he got, I think, on Facebook. And he sent it to me. He's like, we need to do this. And I was like, I never heard of smoke diver, never even thought about it. And, I had no clue like what it entailed. And he kind of gave me the rundown of what the entrance test was. And it's like, wow, that's, I thought, I don't know if I can do that many, if I can run that fast in a mile and a half, in that time frame, and all the push-ups and sit-ups and the circuit and everything for Florida smoke diver. So through the process, though, it took about 6 months, I would say, to train. We had about 6 months until the class, and I wasn't ready the first time. At least I thought I was, but I wasn't ready.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Logan say a similar thing. That guy is one of the most determined people I've ever met. Got the chance to have a conversation with. I've yet to meet him in person, but he's the definition of perseverance. He's
Absolutely.
been through several smoke diver programs and has not, got through all of them, but there's no quit. I mean, what would you say it's like an itch? Like once you get in it, I mean, I'm sure there's people that try out for it, get in it, and they're like, whoa, that's not for me. That's not what I want.
And I don't want to sound cliche or anything, but towing the line going there and actually towing the line changes you. Even if it's just for the entrance test, you show up and you start. There's a change that happens. You either get there and fail and learn from it and want to be better because of it, or you realize that you just don't have it in you. And there's both sides of it, and some people just don't have that desire to push themselves to that limit, which sucks. It's sad to see because everybody has it in that potential, and I know it for a fact. But they just don't want to take it to that level. But the ones that do go there, say they fail, and they learn from it and come back better the next year and realize that just by showing up there, they have leveled up. Now it's time to take it to the next level, which is passing that entrance test the next time they get a chance. Maybe they only make it to day 1 or day 2. Okay, but they learned, right? They learned something more. Now they're going to level up even more next time. This is a process that takes years sometimes, to get through. And then you got these guys that show up, they're one and done. They show up and bam, they just fly through the program. And, they're just like Basil. He's just a freak of nature. You know what I mean? He's just, that's just the way he is. But it's, for me, it took me 3 times to pass Florida smoke diver. The first time I went through, I got sick the first day, and there's no excuse. I really did. I got sick. I lost 12 pounds, had a heat stroke on the 3rd day, woke up in the hospital, all that stuff. Came back though, at first I deleted all the pictures that I had saved of the smoke diver class. I deleted all of the notes I took. I was like, I'm never going back to this again. You know what I mean? And then 2 weeks passed and I got the itch.
Yeah.
I got to go back. I got to go back and finish this. And I would say that was probably the turning point for me.
Okay. Would you say for anybody that's going to start training for it to take more of a quiet approach, and your recommendation, like, don't broadcast it, just work on yourself in silence?
Maybe that's a personal thing for me, but I feel like it's in those moments where I'm standing in the alley at the station, and I see the street lights and I'm, doing my workout and I'm all by myself, nobody around, and I'm putting in the work, for that opportunity to show it eventually and prove it to myself in class that all that work was worth it. There is a lot of people that get on these platforms and just want to be seen, but they're not really putting in the work. They just want the recognition when they're on camera. And that sucks too, because I don't want to be that guy. I've never wanted to be that guy. So, here and there I'll post something, but for the most part, I do it in silence. And yeah, you can ask anybody that knows me. That's just how I operate. And that's where I get the most effectiveness from. For my mentality, it's for me. It's not for you. It's not for anybody else. I don't really care. Nobody cares what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm not that important, basically. That's my mentality. So when I am out there towing the line, that's when I show my importance. When I'm with my crew on a scene and, I want to be the force multiplier. I don't want to be the one that's holding everybody back, So for me, that's the important part of being seen, is what you do in real life.
I think that's incredibly refreshing in an era of social media, likes, comments,
right?
Things like that. Like, you're not interested in any of that. Like,
To care less.
yeah, it's for you, right? That's the vibe I'm getting, right?
For me, but also like for dudes like you, like, you reached out to me, and whether you're better for it or not, that's something that I'm about positively affecting people's lives. And that's how I'm wired. And one way or the other, I find a way to do that, and for you was helping you with that program, and that's basically how I get my likes and my comments.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about, like, the mental health and mental toughness aspect of it. because I would like to think that even though it's physically demanding, the majority of it is mental. Like before you started training into this, or maybe the first time you failed, was it more mental or was it physical? What do you think? And what does the process look like to harden that mindset?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't mental the first time. It was my body failing. I'll just go into it briefly. There on the third day, there's a scenario. We have to go into basically like a maze. One guy leads, the other guy follows. You go through some props. You get to the victim. I mean, you're talking 500 degrees inside this box at this point, comics boxes. Um, get to the victim. You bring the victim out. Now you swap, and then the first guy leads and gets the victim, and then you both bring them out. Well, that first position is probably the hardest position to be in. When we went through, my partner quit after the first time. He had burns on his knees from the water, from the steam. I had third-degree burns on my hands. They took my gloves off. I put my gloves back on, asked me if I wanted to continue. I did. Got to the victim, got 5 feet from the door. It's the last thing I remember. I had a heat stroke. They took me out of my gear, had 107.8 temp. Took me to the hospital, woke up. I was still 107. Finally broke. So it was my body, is what I'm trying to say. It was my body that failed me, not my mind. And I'm proud of that. And that's actually what allowed me to garner up the strength to go back and do it again. Was that I'm proud of that I didn't quit mentally. I would say that's the biggest thing for anybody trying that wants to attempt something like this is don't give up because it gets tough. Don't give up because you think your body is done. You know, David Goggins has that 40% rule. I wholeheartedly believe in that. That when you think that you're at your absolute limit, you're not. You're only actually at your 40%. That you have a lot more that you can give. And I don't know where I was going with that, but
Well, I mean, to piggyback onto that, dude, especially with like the David Goggins like governor thing, the 40%, right? With the
right.
the mental versus the physical. I see it all the time. Like you look at CrossFit, you look at the Olympics, you'll like CrossFit, right? People are going through the workout of the day and they're super smoked halfway through it. But then the very last round or the very last 10, 20 seconds, they're in an all out sprint. It's like, where did that come from? You were on the verge
Exactly.
of throwing up 5 minutes ago, and now you're
Right.
you're grinding. It's because like you overcome that mental hump,
Right.
right? Like you still have a little bit more gas, even though at the time you think you're done.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's beneficial, and I definitely wanted to have you on here to kind of break down all the barriers and the reasons why smoke divers is not just beneficial for us in the fire service, but like who should be like stepping into that arena for sure. Surrounding yourself by like-minded people, building up that mental toughness, I think are important. I'm telling you, on a personal note, like I fail every day. Like I have these workout plans, I have this mission, but I always find a freaking excuse to like take it easy for a day, or oh, I'll do 2 a day tomorrow or something like that. Like I'm trying to overcome that hump, man. And you sent me a video not too long ago. You sent it, like it was like 2 years ago or something like that. You actually, but you felt that it would resonate with me, and it did. And you were talking about guys coming up to you wanting to prepare for smoke divers, but then using excuses like myself of like, I'm tired, I work at a busy firehouse, or I have a new baby at home. And you had a specific message for that. Do you remember what that message was?
Yeah, I mean, basically, like those kinds of guys that that will make excuses. You know, the thing about it is, if those are limiting factors to you, then you'll never become a smoke diver. And it just is what it is. If you place limiting factors on yourself, because there's always time you can make. There's always extra effort that you can put in. You know, if you are the type that can make those excuses in your mind and justify them, then you're not ready for something like this. Because when you've made the decision that that is a program that you're going to go after, you have to put an amount of effort and time into it that there is no excuses. It has to get done. It just has to get done. The work has to be put in, so that when you get to the class, there is absolutely no doubt in your mind at all that you put enough effort into it. And some people don't know what that looks like yet. They don't know what that amount of effort looks like. That's why I sent you that program, that my 3-day routine. It was based off my shift schedules, ABC, and that is the recipe for me to get to that point where I know I put so much effort and work into this that doesn't matter what they do to me, I'm not going home. Doesn't matter. And where that benefits you in life too. And I said that even training for something like this kind of elevates you in your life in all aspects, family, work, outside of work, friendships. It puts you in a different mental state that you just can't, that I couldn't achieve any other way. And for some, it's training to run a marathon, like or selection for Go Ruck. Those types of big accomplishments in our eyes that people set their sights on. It takes a level of dedication that if you're going to make excuses, you'll never get there.
Yeah, I think dedication is the key word in that. And you also touched on it at the very beginning of our conversation of like your family dynamic has to be unified, right? Like if you do not have the people in your corner, the right people in your corner supporting you and understanding why you're doing it and why you have to do it. If you have a significant other, family member, whatever that looks like in your life, contradicting your plan, your routine, right? That's another mental hurdle you got to get over, and I don't think that helps either.
Well, that's something that's missing on your part, and that's my opinion. If that's the case at home, it's something that you are missing them telling you. For me, like when I first started doing smoke diver, all I would think about every 10 seconds was smoke diver. Like I couldn't get it out of my head. And I was not hearing or seeing what I should be at home. And when I started focusing more on that and paying attention to my wife and her needs, that's when the support system started slowly changing, shifting. And it's not a snap of the fingers. It's not going to just happen overnight where she's, oh yeah, hey, go do what you need to do, train for it. It's, hey, look, this is my plan. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up at 3:30 in the morning if that's what it takes. I'm going to get my workout in. So by the time you wake up, I'll have breakfast ready for the kids. I'm already up. It's not a big deal, or I'll get the laundry started or whatever, and I'll not even say it. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing is acting and not saying you're going to do something to get the recognition, but just do it.
Yeah, talk is cheap.
Absolutely.
Just do
Absolutely.
it.
Listen, I don't know everything. I'm not some guy that thinks he knows everything. I'm just telling you my experience and how I was able to make that happen at home and have that support system. And like I said, it took a long time and it took a lot of effort.
For sure. And for the people that don't know, and I know you don't like people listen off your accolades, but I'll just say, like, you've been through several and completed several smoke diver programs in different states and the Georgia Flames program. So you kind of have you have some credibility in this conversation. You're not just some dude that went through it once.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's say the family dynamic is good. You have a great program in place, and now you're in the bay of your own organization and you're in gear doing a workout. And then you know where I'm going to go with this. People are being like, why are you in gear? You should not be in your gear working out.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that?
It's a sensitive subject lately, with everybody coming down on people for chaining in their gear. And I'm sick of hearing about it, like mind your damn business. Like a lot of these dudes that come out and talk about, why are you training in gear? Don't train in gear. It's cancerous, blah, blah, blah. Same ones that wanted me fired for not getting the vaccine, and, so my thing is like, mind your business. You know what I mean? Like you don't know me. I don't know you, like why do you have to, talk down to people for choosing to train a certain way just because you think you know better? Nobody knows anything. If it's not one thing that's going to kill me, it's going to be another. And, to be honest with you, I swore an oath to do this job the best I could and be ready at a moment's notice and do it the best I could. So I'm going to do what it takes. And for me, I'm going to do what it takes to be the best, in my eyes, be the best. And that is only accomplished by training in gear. Like I said, I couldn't have done smoke divers by not training in gear. There's absolutely no way. And you see this time and again. We'll have CrossFit freaks come through with the program, and they're used to training. Nothing against that CrossFit or anything like that, but I'm talking like dudes that are like jacked, you know what I mean, and like the best in CrossFit that there is. And they come into the program and they're used to working out in shorts and no shirt, and they crumble in the first day. And some don't. Some make it all the way through. But I think at some point, they realize that they have to be in gear in order to make something like that happen. And it's not all about smoke diver. For me, it's being the best at my job that I can be. And that is only accomplished by being in gear. And, I have two new guys at my station. They're not rookies. They worked at another department for a couple of years before they came to me, but they are, my left jump and my right jump in the back seat are both brand new to my department. And every shift, we're in the bay for an hour and a half doing a gear workout in the afternoon in the heat, because that's the worst time of day to do it. And but it's the best time of day to do it, and what it gets us to the point of is where no matter how hard they worked out just now, take 5 minutes, recover. I do what we call a bottle swap after our workout. We take about 30 seconds to a minute. We do a bottle swap. We grab 80-pound sandbags, put them on our shoulders, and we go hike up this hill right by the station to the top of the hill and back. It's about a half-mile walk. And that is, basically like, we're done with our work for now, but the work's not done. Swap your bottle, go back into the fire and do your overhaul. Now you got to go do overhaul. I'm building that mentality is what I'm trying to say. I'm building that your work's never done. Your rehab is quick, and your ability to get back in there and do what you need to do is quicker over time. And these workouts that we do, that's 100% where they're at right now because of it, I believe.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That like the overhaul mentality of like, hey, job's not done. Like, yeah, you did some hard shit, but swap your bottle out and let's go back to work. Exactly. We're missing that in trainings. I think the majority of us are missing that in workouts, right? When the job's done, we're like quick to take all our stuff off because it's uncomfortable, and then we want to cool down and relax.
And even that, like coming out of the fire, and if you do take your gear off, I was slinging their gear off. It looks like a yard sale in the front yard. That's what I tell my guys. No yard sales. No yard sales. When you come out, walk like you're not affected. Take your mask off calmly. Take your helmet off your mask. Take your air pack off calmly. Set your gear up so if you got to put it back on quickly, you don't have to look for everything to find out where it is. You can get your gear back on quickly. That is a mentality that I'm trying to build in them.
Yeah, and obviously I don't have anywhere near the credibility that you do, but I've been preaching that to a lot of guys when we do either a gear workout or training. Of when you're done with the workout, stay in your gear and regulate your heart rate and your breathing in your gear, because historically I've also been that guy of like getting out of the training, ripping my stuff off. But what are we doing subconsciously? We're teaching ourselves to get comfortable ripping our gear off when we're uncomfortable. And we don't want that to happen in our worst moments. And then same thing, like if we got to go back into work and we're like, oh shit, where's my mask? I like threw it across the street because I never want to see it again. No, I truly believe it. And like I said, I've been in structure fires earlier in my career where I was not comfortable in the environment, in the heat, and then also with the pack on and in the mask. I truly believe if we're not getting in our gear, it doesn't have to be every day, right? But if you're not getting in your gear and doing strenuous things, especially the longer we are in our career, that comfortability in our mask with the on-demand regulator and things like that, it starts building up anxiety, because in academy, we're able to overcome that, right? We're wearing it over and over and over again. But then after academy, if you're not purposely putting yourself back in that mindset and that fatigue, that starts to drop, that comfortability starts to drop. And that's why I'm a firm believer of training in gear. Like you said, it doesn't have to be about smoke divers. It has to be about the 3 a.m. call where you're doing a primary search and you can't see shit, but all you can think about is the fact that you can't breathe in your gear.
That's right.
That's not the time to be freaking out. You know what I mean?
No, and you add those elements, the air pack, the mask, the hood, the helmet, the gloves. It's a game changer. Even from just training in pants and coat. Like those elements are a game changer. And for me personally, if I'm out of gear for more than 2 weeks, it's like almost starting over. As far as like, it puts me way back in my acclimation of that heat. So, with the Florida heat and humidity down here, for me, it's essential to stay ready.
I almost hate hearing you say that because if you're saying that if you go 2 weeks without training in gear, it's like starting over. For the guys like myself that have just recently started doing it in the past year, yeah, you can't ever stop. Apparently, you got to keep doing it.
Well, I mean, to each their own, but that for me, again, that's the best way for me to stay ready.
No, I love it. Are you coming out to Colorado when they launch the smoke diver
That's a
program?
big possibility, yeah, for Colorado smoke diver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I know they've been trying to get a lot of Colorado people through smoke divers in other
Yeah.
states so that they can come back and be cadre.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, talking to Marcos, he goes down to Georgia every now and then, and he's part of the cadre. And so I can imagine there's going to be a lot of guys from out of state coming up.
Yeah, I still got to get back to Indiana. I completed Indiana first, Florida smoke diver first. I go there every year. I do their program because it's not far. Indiana, I still got to get back there, and then Georgia, I want to go back and be cadre there. So once I get my feet wet and figure out how they operate on that side, hopefully your program there will be starting to roll out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they figured out where it's going to be. I know Rick's out in Grand Junction. I don't know if it's going to be out there or in the Denver metro area, but I feel like it's going to be a new type of challenge for the smoke diver enthusiasts in mile high or at altitude, and it's going to be a whole nother test. I'm personally feeling like I should go to a sea level smoke diver program, but I don't want to quit or cop out like that.
Yeah, I
But
hear you.
honestly, though, in Colorado, like we benefit from the dry heat. So I mean, going to Georgia or Oklahoma or something like that, like I'm not acclimated to humidity, so I feel like I'd just be setting myself up.
Honestly, the hardest part for me with Georgia was the hills because Florida's flat. So for me, what I had to train in parking garages, running up the parking garages because I had no hills around me, So there's ways around it, but yeah, and then the cold for Indiana. I was not used to the cold. It snowed on the last day there, and I could send you pictures like our gear's covered in snow.
Yeah,
So there's a different element.
yeah, covered in snow, but then you got steam coming out of every hole in your jacket. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
no, dude. I'm glad you're talking about all this stuff because I think that there's a lot of mixed hype around smoke divers and who it's for. I mean, the first time I heard about smoke diver it's like the buds program of the fire service. I mean, can you like speak to like how that's
Yeah,
not necessarily the thing?
I would never compare it to buds,
Yeah.
just because what those guys go through is it's insane, and for months and months and months, the pipeline of that is crazy. It's definitely for me, it's the ultimate test for firemen, and it's not smoke jumper status. Those guys. I mean, their training is just unbelievable. too. But the smoke diver program is the ultimate challenge for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was originally, or it still is, like a firefighter survivability course, generally, right? Like,
Yeah, it's an air consumption
yeah,
course. Yep, and it's firefighter survival. Yep,
okay, firefighter survival, yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
okay. What about, so for anybody that goes through the program, like you said, the one and done, what what about people that have actually completed the program? Like, is there a expectation on how you're supposed to carry yourself afterward, or is there more of like, here's your certificate and your hat, like you're good?
No, there's no expectation. Um, you know, once you've gone through the program, a real smoke diver doesn't have to like get out there and talk about it. Like that's kind of where I shifted all away from the social media and posting stuff and telling people about it. And like I'm not so much not telling people about it, but not broadcasting it. I don't wear that. I don't put a sticker on my truck. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't wear the shirts. People find out. That's
Mm.
and then I just want them to find out organically, if that makes sense. I want them to
Yeah,
find out on their own and then be curious about it and then come ask me questions. You
yeah,
know, I feel like if you're the kind of person that's constantly shoving it in other people's face, they get kind of sick of hearing about it,
mm.
and they really don't care, what you've done, which is fine. That's why I don't do it because I don't like to hear, other people brag about themselves. You know, um, and again, like I don't want any of this podcast to be taken that way because that's the last. That's definitely not me. It's the last thing I want you to think or take away from this. But it's you know definitely is one of those things where people know once you pass a program that you don't have to talk about it, and if they're curious, they'll ask you.
yeah. I mean, the biggest impact that you've ever made on me, for one, was like I said, that video you sent me. But one thing you said was like, for people that are like, when they're preparing and trained, they're like, oh man, I'm tired. I'm always tired. I don't know how to overcome that. And your response essentially was, smoke divers don't get tired. That really resonated with me in the fact that I want to be able to perform my job in a way that I can be relied upon, and I could potentially be the only person that gets to a victim or puts out the fire or whatever because of my preparation. So like you said, like Smoke Divers is a program for like people that have that ambition, I think, of being able to perform when no one else can.
Yeah, it's so that statement I made about you don't get tired. That is a mentality that was instilled in me from the beginning with Florida Smoke Diver, and that is in every aspect of my life. Like you will not wear me out. If somebody backs me against the wall, I'm charging forward, and you will not. You'll have to kill me to stop me. If somebody's hurting my family, you'll have to kill me to stop me. I don't get tired. That's the mentality that you get from something like this. Not just about the job; it's about everything in life. You know, basically, I heard a saying not too long ago: "Bet against me, that'll be fun." That's me. That's my mentality. Like when things start going bad, I start to smile.
Mm.
When things are tough, I start to smile. Like, but yeah, I remember you, my old friend.
Wow.
That pain, that feeling, that doubt in others' eyes or in your mind about you or whatever it is that you're facing. Like you're not gonna wear me out. I will be victorious through this. Whether I lose and learn or I win, I will get something from this. I don't know if that makes sense or not,
No,
but
no.
that's how
And
that's how my mind works, and that's what that phrase was when I said
yeah,
that to you in that video. I said it to them, but in that video when you heard it, is that there is no
well,
getting tired.
I tell you what, for the right people, that gets me going. Like my heart rate was just elevated just listening to you talk like that, because I would like to think that there are several people in the fire service or anywhere that just think that same way and want to get there. But the journey, I can imagine, is different for everybody.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, you just gotta not quit, right? Like I think I heard you say that you can try it 50 times before you actually get through the program, but you know, you're gonna be better for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't take you that long, but
Yeah.
if you don't,
Well,
hopefully
yeah.
by the second time you've got it figured out what you need to do to make it happen. And you surround yourself with the people that have done it. You surround yourself with, and again, that's for anything in life. You know, you want to be the top, not you want to be the best in real estate. You surround yourself with the best, and that's what I've done where I'm at. You know, you got to seek out the people that are the best and that have gone through it and have made it a reality, and then learn from them. Maybe they have some things that you can get from them and make them your own. Maybe they have some things that you don't necessarily agree with, but you can still make your own. That's really the biggest lessons that I got out of everything that I've been through with it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely motivated me, dude. And I think I don't know if you like watch movies and stuff like that, but like the new Roadhouse that came out, I don't know if you saw
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. There's a part near the end of the movie where they're just beating the shit out of each other, right?
Mhm.
And anybody else would have stayed down, but Jake Gyllenhaal's getting back up, and Connor looks at him and he's like, "Something wrong with you," and he says, "Me too." Right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of when you're saying like
Yeah.
this is the mindset that you have. You just smile and nod
Exactly
your
it.
head.
Exactly it.
Dude, I love it. I love it so much, man. So coming up on an hour, I wanna touch on these two things that I think you're passionate about. Doesn't have anything to do with smoke divers, but it's about mentoring the new generation and what leadership looks like.
Yeah. So for me, it's, you know, as far as like my two new guys in the station say, like, I get in the gear, I do it with them. I set the expectations, I show them what I expect of them, and then I ask them to do it. I don't tell them this is how you're going to do it, now go do it, and then not even be in gear. There's a certain level of respect, I think, and trust that you build as a leader when you can humble yourself enough to put yourself in gear and show them exactly what you're expecting of them. And outside of the fire department, leadership is, you know, Simon Sinek, who's a motivational speaker that I follow. He says empathy and perspective. You've got to put yourself in their shoes and realize you were once in those shoes. And, you know, basically don't be more concerned with your status or your position at work, that you forget that you are not in charge, that it's taking care of those in your charge. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Uh, and again, that's outside the fire in the fire service. That's in general in life. For me, that is what makes a leader is being able to encourage people and not show them that they don't know what they're doing, but show them that they can they can learn it, they can be the best, but it's gonna take humility on their part and humility on yours to bring them to your level and to their level.
I love that mindset. And honestly, the first person that I heard talk like that was Basil. He came
Yep.
out to Mile High last year, and in his
Yeah.
presentation and his one bad day, he talks about you'll never see the cadre not in bunker gear
Yep.
with the students because
Yep.
it is that level of perception of like if you're suffering, we're suffering too.
Absolutely. Basil and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. There's some things we don't, but we are great friends. And you know, those things that we don't see eye to eye on, we still respect each other because of it. You know, and but his mentality and I very, very much aligned.
Yeah, unfortunately, more often than not in my career, I've seen we got a new guy, we got a rookie. I'm going to talk about the exercise, and then we're all going to stand around and watch the rookie do it in gear. And then while they're doing it, we're going to throw our 2 cents and we're going to ridicule them for how they're
Yeah.
doing it, not how we would do it. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's a big thing that needs to change in the fire service.
There's absolutely moments where that's, you know, it's called for. You know, it's acceptable. But you also have to get in the gear and do it with them. And I will say that, you know, don't just be the guy that goes out and works out with them in the afternoon at the station. Don't be just really good at working out. Make sure that you're getting in gear and doing functional stuff, actually training in the gear with them. Yeah, you're doing cool gear circuits together, and that's a bonding experience. It really is. Being able to suffer through a workout together, it does create a bond. But also getting out there and training with them, throwing ladders, stretching lines, that stuff matters and builds a respect and the trust in you as a leader, as their leader.
Yeah, I think it also keeps maybe some of those, I don't know, either incompetent or their skill sets are questionable company officers from just
Right.
pointing fingers and telling you what to do. Like if you get in your gear and you say, "Hey, this is the drill," and then you do it first, whether you were successful or you failed or not, be like, "This is why we drill."
And that's funny you say that, because I tell my guys that, like, I'm not perfect. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to make a mistake or two on here, but we're going to point out what the mistake was. And then I'm never going to make that mistake again. I'm going to try to not make that mistake again. So that humility again comes back into play, and that breeds the trust and the respect again. And it's not, okay, I failed, we're not going to talk about that, or I'm too afraid to be put in the spotlight. A lot of guys are too afraid to just get in the spotlight and have the light on them, because if they fail, they're going to look weak. You're not looking weak, not if you approach it the right way, as it's a lesson learned, and a lesson that they could learn from it.
Yeah, I've definitely suffered from a fear of failure in my career because of the simple fact that I didn't know how to do something and it was commented on. I was ridiculed by my own crew members and leadership and made me feel like the worst firefighter in the organization, right? And then now, because of that, or not now, but back then, because of that, I didn't want to train or fail in front of anybody ever again.
It's
Yeah.
like the training scars
Yeah.
that we get from training the wrong way. It's leadership scars.
Yeah, no, I agree that we could all do better at that. Whether you're a company officer, senior firefighter, or even a new guy. Like, I think leadership opportunities are all throughout the fire service. I think if our eyes or we are viewed by the community to be held to a higher standard, right? We're not supposed to be like everyone else. We're jumping on and off the rigs, and there's a level of expectation by the community. Like, we should work every day to meet that expectation that the community has for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, man. Well, do you have any, let me ask you this. If people want to get a hold of you, like you said that you're willing to help out people that maybe want more information on smoke diver, maybe want to figure out the proper workouts or routine or lifestyle habits, like how can they get a hold of you if they wanted to
Look me
reach
up
out?
on Facebook, and shoot me a message, and I'll get back to you on it. And like I said, just as long as you're showing effort, I'm gonna give you effort too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I mean, it's just, I really, I think since I have the stage right now, like if you're out there and you're even considering doing something like smoke diver or just anything, go ruck selection, or like I talked about, or you want to do the Appalachian Trail, you want to hike the Appalachian Trail or something, which I've done before, things like that take a certain level of dedication. And if I can help you get to the point where you can organize a program to help you get there, whatever it takes, I'll help you. I'm always open to help those that want to put forth effort. So
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
love it. And the older I get, the more I feel like I need to structure my have programs and structure like a plan, because I used to just be young and dumb and athletic enough to where any challenge put in front of me, I'm like, yeah, I'll go do that real quick. Not a big deal. But I'm about to be 40 and those days are somewhat
I'm
behind me.
42, so
Yeah.
I hear
So
you.
yeah, like you were saying, having a plan, having it structured, having the dedication, having the balance, having the family trust and respect and relationships and organization, all this stuff, it's all encompassing for you to be successful.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you being that guy. I'm going to keep calling you the silent assassin, the Mr. Humble, because I tried to do more research on you beforehand, and yeah, you're not putting yourself out there. You're not broadcasting it. You're that guy that's available when they reach out, but you're not looking for accolades or recognition. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate it. For anybody that's listening, thanks, Matt, for coming on. Thanks for talking about all this stuff. I know it intrigues me. I'm working every day on becoming that type of person that doesn't get tired and laughs in the face of hardship, and yeah, for any of you out there that are like-minded and found value in the show, please share the show. Reach out to Matt. He is humble. He's available if you are one of those people that are bought in. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for listening to this episode of Relentless Rejects. We'll catch you next time.